I was going broke in the restaurant business. And I don't have time to tell you how broke, but I will put it to you this way. My net 30s looked like net 90s. I was months backed up on rent. And LADWP was kind enough to reach out and let me know they were going to cut off my power by the end of the month. You can have a lot go wrong in the restaurant industry, but when you lose electricity, it's game over. My wife, who I had sworn from the day we met that we were going to be stinking rich, go to the bank and we take out the last bit of money that we have to buy me another 30 days at the restaurant. I then go to American Express and I take out the maximum cash advance that they'll allow to buy myself another 30 days. And no one but her and I knew, but I had 60 days to turn the restaurant around or I was ruined. And I was embarrassed and I was ashamed. And every day I had to go to the restaurant and sell a dream while I was living a nightmare. Can you relate to that? But had I not lived that nightmare, I wouldn't be qualified to stand before you today and help those of you that are living that nightmare now. And we survive and we thrive. And the blueprint that we use to scale up and scale out is what I'm going to share with you today. There are 3 key components. The first is mastering margins, running the most profitable version of your business today. Then we're going to scale awareness, creating a flood of new customers. And the last thing we're going to do is execute simple strategies to scale customer frequency. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh, Michelin-awarded restaurateur who saw success in every tier of dining in one of the most competitive dining markets in the country. In 2020, I pivoted from serving my community to serving my industry. The genesis of that was Full Comp, a podcast started in partnership with Yelp for Restaurants, where we interview over 400 of the leading innovators, reviewing tactics, tools, and strategies from Wolfgang Puck and Will Guidara to Robert Greene and John Taffer. Through those strategies, I developed the restaurant scaling system, which comes from my firsthand knowledge as a restaurant owner and operator, paired with the best information available from today's leading industry. I want to start with a thought, and the thought is this: that every problem in your business is a solved problem. Jesus ate in restaurants. Restaurants have been around for thousands of years, and yet we spend all of our time trying to figure out what the solution to our problems are, when those solutions already exist. So all we're going to do today is pair your existing problems with an existing solution in the market. But before we talk about your problems, let's talk about mine. I was a victim of my own success. I opened a bar in Hollywood and the thing cranked. We made millions of dollars on the top line, which floated hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue to the bottom line. And I could do no wrong. So I decided to open a fine dining restaurant in downtown Los Angeles. Because, how hard could that possibly be? At the end of the first year, we had lost $250,000. I fired the general manager. I took over as general manager. Fired the executive chef, brought in a new executive chef, and then took the money I was talking about at the beginning of this conversation and tried everything I could. And of the 1,000 things I tried to fix my business, 3 worked. And those are the 3 we're going to talk about today. And it starts with maximizing profitability today. How many of you make a little bit of money this month and lose a little bit of money next month and make a little bit of money and then lose it? How many of you are at like 1.2 million, but you know that once you hit 1.4 million, it's all gonna magically float to the bottom line and then you'll be rich? I've never seen it happen. When you scale revenue, you typically scale expenses. So the only way you're gonna make money tomorrow is by making money today. So we need to create the most profitable version of your restaurant today. And the best tool to do that is to scale your per customer average spend. You've got to make more money off the people that are sitting in your restaurant today. And this is how you do it. You start by pricing for profitability. You're going to do a benchmarking analysis. You're going to look at your pricing, line item by line item, next to that of your competitors. And not who you think you're competing against, but who your customers perceive as your competitors. And we're going to adopt a top-of-market strategy. No one patronizes your restaurant because you are the second most expensive Italian restaurant in town. Patrons don't think in those terms. So if you see someone that is charging more than you, it proves that there's price elasticity in that market. So what you will do is you will meet that price point, which will have a massive impact on your per customer average and your overall profitability. If you do nothing else, I want you to run a P-mix by item from the beginning of the year. I want you to target your top 5 sellers, and I want you to increase the price of those individual items by 10, 15, 20%. They're your best sellers. It's not going to influence demand. But what it is going to do is it's going to influence your overall sales, because those top 5 items probably constitute 40, 50% of your total business. And what's it going to do to your customers? To pay 10% more on a $20 item is going to cost them $2, but it's going to revolutionize your business and your life. If you do that, you're going to need to increase perceived value. And that we can do without spending money. You use your menu and your team as a tool. Call out house-made items, local sourcing, sustainable practice, and talk about the people that are involved in the process. We work so hard and put so much effort into making this look like an effortless process, but if they don't see it, they don't know it exists. If you open at 6, they assume you got there at 5:30. What we did was we put the names of everyone that worked in back of house on the bottom of the menu so that they saw that it took 20 people showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning to make that plate of food sitting in front of them today. And people will support people. They'll get it. It'll resonate. This is the mathematical formulation for the most ideal version of your restaurant. It starts with taking your monthly target. How much do you want to make a month? Divide that by existing volume. How many bodies you're seeing a month? And that's how much they're going to have to spend. We then take that number and we move it over to the menu. And we say, well, if they have to spend that, what are they going to need to buy to hit that? Once we know what that looks like, we then turn to the team and we sell it to them. They sell it to us. We role play. And in doing so, we created this bulletproof, proven sales strategy that everyone has bought into. I'll give you a case study. This is Josh. He scaled up the price points of his top sellers. He is projecting to bring out an additional $40,000 in revenue on flat sales. On flat sales, assuming we do nothing else right, and this is the only thing he did, he'll bring in an extra $40,000 this year. Before we move on, I'm going to leave you with a thought. And the thought is this. You don't know how much you paid for gas last week, and you don't know how much you paid the week before that. No one cares about your business the way you do. No one is tracking your pricing. You don't have to be afraid of the negative reaction. There is none. They don't notice because they don't care enough. Most of the people that are patronizing your restaurants are coming in once a month, once every 2 months. How on earth would they remember what they paid? You don't remember. The next thing I want to talk about is increasing inventory. And I'm not talking about food and beverage. I'm talking about tables and chairs. If we begin to think like Delta and we become best in the world at what they're best at, which is not travel, we can scale volume. Delta is best in the world at taking a finite amount of seating inventory and making the most they can possibly can off of it. And you can do the same thing. Let me ask you, on a Saturday night, when you're busier than you know what, how much more money would you make off one more table, one more bar stool? Well, the Still and Fort Collins increased seating by 8% and brought in an additional $168,000 off that inventory alone. Another question for you. This is terrifying. Are you turning away business without knowing it? Have you not noticed the consumer behavior has changed? In my own restaurants, we would be fully committed for reservations on a Monday for the following Friday. Flash forward to 2020, and it was different. Like on a Friday morning, we were still half committed, and by Friday evening, we were fully committed. People are changing the way they book with us, and more than anything, they want the confidence of knowing that we have the availability. Here's a crazy statistic. 50% of all Valentine's Day reservations were made this year via waitlist. Are those bad husbands or bad boyfriends? Or have they just figured out that they can actually book short notice now based on software? So what does it look like? In my mind, it looks like this. They should be able to book a reservation, but if they want to stop by and the intent is high, they need to know when they'll be able to get in. This isn't about availability. This is about confidence. It's about knowing that when they show up, they will be served in a timely manner. How many people don't show up on a Saturday night to your restaurant when they want to go because they don't know whether they'll get in or not, or if they'll be served promptly? Here's a thought to parallel. The genius of Uber is the map, not the car. Why do you go with Uber instead of a taxi? Because you know when it's coming. And that confidence informs your decision. Look at this, Goober. Me, and I am no smarter than you. I went from $36,000 weekends to $58,000 weekends through strategic overbooking and an aggressive turn policy. You are all under-monetized on the weekends. You can all maximize capacity by being more efficient with your inventory. Now I want to talk about on-peak promotions. So if we're going to use that inventory, when do we use it? I've been doing this a long time. I was a restaurateur for almost 20 years. I've been a coach and a consultant for about half a decade now. And the one thing everybody wants to know is, how can I get busier on a Tuesday? I have no idea. Because on a Tuesday, you're not asking people to come to the restaurant. You're asking them to put on pants and get off the couch and get in their car and come see you when they have no interest in doing so. Which is why it's so expensive to get people in on a Saturday. But if we change the perspective, if we realize that we're undercapitalized on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we can begin to adjust consumer behavior instead of altering it. And the conversation changes. It says, hey, I know you're already out on a Saturday night. Come see me. Here's a client case study for you. Dogville at Oslo, Norway. It's a multi-unit chain. They scaled on peak volume by 36% by using an early bird, less for less campaign. What does that look like? It looks like shrinking portion sizes, shrinking the price point, maintaining margins on the shoulders, so that they're making the same money off more people during the times that they need it most. This is the paradigm shift. This is what you came here for. I want to talk about scaling events and catering. Most of you are in the wrong business. Most of you see restaurants as B2C. But if you can change that and begin to think of your restaurant in terms of B2B, you can control how much money you make. B2B is a rock solid strategy. The way it works is this. Think about who's booking events and catering. It's a very stressed out group of people. These people are booking events and catering jobs for either people that they love, kind of like their mother-in-laws, or their boss, people that employ them and give them money. So the only thing they're concerned about is this. Am I going to regret this? Am I going to be embarrassed by choosing this restaurant? So how do we overcome that objection? World-class assets. Your restaurant owners, you're visionaries. You saw a future that did not exist and you made it manifest. Most people can't do that. So we need world-class photography that shows them where they'll be. They need images of the food. They need menus that make it really easy to do the math to make sure that they're going to hit the budget. And more than anything, they need to know that you exist. So we develop an outbound strategy. Show of hands, how many of you for events and catering just wait for the phone to ring? How many of you are out there aggressively trying to earn that business? Because when it comes to holiday parties, I start in January. I start in February. I'm taking deposits first quarter for events in fourth quarter because it's B2B, because they have to book those events. And if I get to them first, I get their money. Here's what it looks like in practical application. Again, you'll get copies of this. Scrape the data. What I want you to do is I want you to hire someone to get you the names of every executive assistant, administrative assistant, and office manager within 50 square miles of your location that has 25 or more employees. You're then going to reach out to them via email and you're going to say, hey, you don't know me, but I know you. If you're booking catering this month, if you're booking an event this year, I would love to invite you and a friend or you and a colleague in for dinner on me. I want to show you what we're doing, and if you see value in it, I'd love to have you plan that event, or I'd love to book out that catering job for you. What am I doing there? I'm helping. I'm not selling. I'm offering the unsung heroes of these businesses an opportunity to be seen and be taken care of. And then you've got to track the right indicators. Don't track the number of events that you book. Track the number of replies to those emails. Track the number of free meals you're giving away to these people. Because if you can scale that up, you're going to scale up your event sales. The power of focus. Year one, $250,000 in event sales. Inbound only. Year two, $1 million in event sales. In year three, $1.4 million. And here's the thing about year three, in B2B, nobody's trying to reinvent the wheel. So if they had their holiday party with me last year and I didn't screw the pooch, they're going to have it with me again next year and the year after that. So most of that 1.4 was repeat business. Now let's assume that you do everything that I just advocated for. And now you're running the most profitable version of your business today. What's next? Awareness. Most of you have one of two issues. Product market fit, which means they know you exist and they just don't care. Or awareness, which is the more likely scenario, that they don't know you exist, but if they did, they would love you. So how do we get attention? We're going to attract via social media. The reason the word attract is in red is because largely we've been using social media wrong as an industry. Social media does not convert for a restaurant. Consumer intent is too low. You've never been sitting on the couch with your spouse, seen a picture of a piece of pie from a restaurant and been like, yo, grab your purse, we gotta go eat this pie right now. It doesn't happen. So what we have to do is we have to use social media in the way it was intended, to inform and to entertain. We talk about our people. We talk about our process. And we talk about ourselves. Because people don't support businesses. They support people. They support ideas. And so what you do is you create that awareness and then you drive them to higher intent pages. What do they look like? It's your website. It's your Yelp listing. It's your Google listing. It's Google Maps, Apple Maps, and TripAdvisor. They're not there to peruse. They're there to make a buying decision. So when they go to your website, what does it look like? What is it telling them to do? When they go to your Yelp page, what does the photography look like? Is it a bunch of consumer-driven photography, taken in low light of half-eaten food by an octogenarian on a flip phone? Or is it the best imaginable version of your restaurant? Because people eat with their eyes. What does the copy look like? Is it about, hey, Scratch made this, come by and see us? Or are you actually talking about the experience? Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking to have an experience. And then calls to action. Trying to beef up that happy hour business on Tuesdays? Come in this Tuesday for happy hour. What you do is you pitch the most frequent use case for your most popular service. Come by this weekend for dinner. Because again, we're all undercapitalized on the weekends. So we drive traffic till we can no longer handle the capacity with a singular call to action, which lets them know clearly how they win if they want to do business with us. So now we've got all this attention. We're running the most profitable version of our business today. The only thing left to do is to scale customer frequency. Here's a question. What happens to your business if everybody that dines with you once a month dines with you twice a month? Oh my God, you're so rich. You make so much money. That one thing cures all of your issues. But how much time do we spend to do it? And is it formulaic? Is it repeatable? Here's what that proven process looks like. Step 1, capture data. Everyone that works for you is obligated to get money from the people that walk through the door. They should also be obligated to get data. But we've got to have a better lure. To get my name, my phone number, my email address, and my birthday, it's going to cost you more than a piece of pie. I'm worth more than that. So what do? What do people really value? In my experience, it's experience. So what do? You say, hey, we're always R&Ding food and beverage. We change out the menu seasonally, and we like to test it with our best customers. So what we do is, every month, every couple of months, we host a private event for the people that are on our VIP list. They get to try everything new. They get to solicit feedback. They can invite a friend. Would you want to be invited to that? Because if so, you just give me your information. I'll sign you up for the list. We're not going to spam you. And we'll let you know when the next big event is. That's a value. That makes them feel seen and special, which is all they really want. So then you have the lure. So you give it to your staff. I did. And they didn't sell it. And they didn't sell it because sales is dirty. It just feels so dirty to sell. And if it feels dirty to sell like dessert, how dirty does it feel to be like, hey, give me your birthday? What did you say your phone number was? So how do we do it? We role play. You've got to role play with your team. You've got to sit with them and take them step by step through the process. You overcome their objections, they overcome yours, and they get really comfortable with the idea. Role playing is the key to all sales. And then you have accountability. And you go with a carrot or a stick. Here's what I did and it worked really well for me. I went to Walmart, bought a 60-inch flat screen television for $350. I drugged that thing from the front door of the restaurant to the back of the employee locker room, and I said, hey, whoever collects the most email addresses is going to get this flat screen television. And it wasn't like the promos that we usually do. Hey, the person that sells most of this is going to get $100. But they don't do it, and we forget. They didn't really try hard enough, so we don't do it. But that TV, that's a physical manifestation of my commitment. And they would walk by it, and they would picture it on the walls in their apartment. And as a result, we scale. We scaled data, which scaled frequency, which scaled sales. It's a beautiful thing. But a lot of you already have data. But what do you say? I'd argue that the biggest hurdle when it comes to email and text communication is that you don't know what to say. And I would argue that we should always lead with value. What would your favorite restaurant have to do to convince you to come back? Your favorite restaurant? Nothing. Just remind them that you exist. That's it. That's all we have to do. But we try and bribe and barter when all we have to do is just give them value and oh, we do love them. Let's go back. And so if that's the case, this is the formula. A monthly email that starts with context. Quick message from the owner. A couple of lines that lets them know, hey, Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday for these reasons. And then we move into a cooking and cocktail demo. Here's what the chef is preparing for Valentine's Day this year. Check it out. And then we move into a recipe of dead stock, typically. But maybe you don't want to go out to dinner this Valentine's Day. Here's the dish that I created that made my wife fall in love with me. And then a specific, singular call to action. But if you are looking to go out, we would love to host. Seating is limited. Click below to reserve. You've given them value no matter what. They're going to look forward to the communication. And you have let them know the one thing that you want them to do after receiving the email. Focus. I haven't worked with any clients where I was like, this is what we need to add to your marketing or to your program. It is always stripping down to the most essential elements. So if you're sending out 12 emails a year, and you can only talk about one thing a month, what does that do to your marketing? It makes it impactful. It makes it focused. The last big idea I want to share with you is this, the idea of network effect. I don't know the name of every hotel concierge in Los Angeles, but they all know mine. I made it my business to do so. I became obsessed with influencer marketing, but not like the people that wear sunglasses at night and like take pictures of themselves. It was about the true influencers in your area. The head of the PTA, local church congregations, hotel concierge, office managers, and apartment manager. I became obsessed with this idea. Who is the one person I can reach out to that can give me access to 100 people, 1,000 people just like them? And so what do? You reach out and you invite them in. You don't drop off coupons. You give them the first-hand experience of what it's like to be served by you. Then when it's time to throw a holiday party, or when a guest walks up and says, where should I eat tonight? They don't hand them a coupon. They say, oh my God, you need to go to Pru and Proper. I went there the other day. This is what I ate. It was amazing. The owner's always in there. Please be sure you say hello. I'll help you book the reservation. These people were advocates for me. They helped build my business because I saw them. I made them feel seen and special. And you can do it too. Nothing that we've covered today costs a penny to implement. It's focus and time and effort to do what you were born to do, which is evangelize your brands. This could be a new beginning. Working hard has never been our issue, right? Just been working on the wrong things. So my gift to you is focus. Here's the other side of that story. Derek Sivers says if knowledge was enough, we'd all be billionaires with six-packs. Just because you know doesn't mean you will do. To become a coach, I learned from a coach. And the best advice he gave me was he said, give away your best stuff. And I was like, what? Like, why would I do that? He goes, so I'm not gonna do it. And so my challenge to you is to do it, to do what we're talking about here. This stuff is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple to execute. And I'm gonna end with a question. Why not you? You've got brains, you can make decisions, you can follow a plan, you can completely change your life. You can make your dreams come true. You can build a financial wall around your family that nothing could get through. You can become powerful. You can become successful. Why not you? And I came here today to make a commitment alongside you that I will do whatever I can, as much time and as effort as it will take to make your dreams come true. Because you can do what I did. You can do what the 400 people that I've interviewed on the show have done. And so I don't ask the question and then walk away. I ask the question, I'm going to walk with you. And here's what that looks like. You have unfettered access to the best educational tools available on the market today through the Full Comp podcast, through Restaurant Marketing School, and through the Yelp for Restaurants resources and asset audits. That is all free to you. Next, I will coach you virtually. You can come see me in the booth after this if you have questions. I'd also invite you to take my 5-day free Restaurant Profitability Challenge, where we'll walk more granularly through all of the lessons taught today. Scale your profit by 15% over the course of that 5-day period. You can do it, so go do it.